where we do not teach you how to rise to the occasion. We teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Solid 6 mile day today. In, out, lots to get done throughout the day. You know, when we got the holiday weekend coming up, so I plan in advance and try to make sure certain things are done before Friday morning. Preferably, it would have been nice if I got it done last night, but it was a long day, long week, to the point where, you know, you sit down, you try to get an article written, or you try to get something written up, and your eyes literally couldn't stay open. So got an early one, got up a little earlier than usual this morning, so a lot of things can get done as we head in to the morning hours and the actual day we're off to teach the kiddos. So saying all that, bringing all that up brings me to today's Move Swiftly thought, especially since we're literally now, like less than 12 hours. We're already in college football season technically, but got a Thursday night football game tonight that I may or may not be recapping. I'm still sort of figuring out how we're going to do the live college football show. The film session Saturday thing I got going on is really good, but now that it's during the season, there's certain things that I got to make sure I am paying attention to from a copyright standpoint. What's being filmed, what's the goal, what's the mission of the show, all that kind of stuff. So just stay tuned again, comment, like, subscribe, share this channel out, and also go over to Film Session Saturday and subscribe to that as well, as we'll be doing a lot of breakdowns and making sure, you know, we're teaching the game in the correct way, breaking down the game the correct way. All right. And I'm bringing all this up for a reason, because it leads me into today's Move Swiftly thought, where a lot of, say, 95% of what I do, or what I will be doing, what's part of the process of me being able to do what I do, is teaching the game to people that don't know anything about the game, teaching it in a way that is conducive and makes it so they have a perspective on how to build their business and build their life, and make sure they understand why it's important that you have teammates, that you have teamwork, that you are working with people, and give you the perspective like I promise you I will do every single day. All right. So it was me and my girl. We went to a Dolphins game, her first Dolphins game. I can't even count at this point. I used to work for the organization, so I always used to be in that stadium. So she and I, we went to a Dolphins game this past Saturday, and we were with the kids, and the kids actually, they stayed for the entire game. They stayed up for the entire game, and just being in that atmosphere, it was a great time, man. Again, I got my Commander stuff on, my Redskin stuff on, my burgundy and gold, repping my home squad, officially, doing that and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a great time, great night out with her, and great time spent with her, because she doesn't know football like that. She's not into football as deep as I am. I mean, she barely knows certain things and stuff like that. Just again, doesn't know the game like that. So it's my job to teach her. The thing about me is I always used to say I'm only going to be with someone that knows the game of football. And then when you meet her, and when I met her, it was more so about, I was already in a place where, I don't have to be so rigid. I could be with someone that is willing to learn the game of football. And that was that wasn't just my advice. It was actually one of my good friends. Shout out to Ann. That was something that he had brought up to me. It's like, you got to more so think about it in terms of who's willing to learn the game of football with you, right? So I was, when you go to a game, I don't know if anybody here, if you've listened, or if you're in the South Florida area and you've been to a Dolphins game, when they get a first down, the Jumbotron and all that, it's like first down, woo! You know what I'm saying? So every time the Dolphins get a first down, it's like first down, woo! Or any football game in general, you're going to hear a constant like, first down. So that was a teaching point, right? So anyway, long story short, I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but the point of me bringing all this up is I was teaching her what a first down actually meant, right? And I was, quizzing her, and towards the end of the game, I'm like, all right, so what is it? I told her what a first down meant, kind of in the football world, like, you got to get a first down and then you get another set of downs. I was giving it to her in the football terms. And I'm like, yo, all right, do you know what a first down is? Like towards the end of the third quarter, I'm like, do you know what a first down is? And she was still kind of fuzzy on what it meant. And then I was like, okay, let me see how I could break this down into your world. In your daily life, when you get the kids ready for school, when you get the kids ready for school, and then you make their breakfast, and then you get them to school like safe, sound, and do what you gotta do, that would be what a first down is in life because you got to do that part of it. You come home, you get your workout in, you start work on time, yada yada yada. Okay, first down, right? Then you go pick them up. All right, first down, right? So then when I started connecting it to the daily life that she has, it's like, I got it. That's what it means. It's just giving you another opportunity. And then as we were on the way home, she goes, yeah, see, this is why I think you need to be a professor. So, but I'm not saying all that to brag or like, toot my horn or anything like that, but I want to make sure I'm impressing upon you all that when it comes to teaching the game, and again, this isn't, and I say this all the time because a lot of people, here he is, as he's talking about his girl again. But truth is, I could have been teaching that. I could teach that to anybody. Her and I have it's more of a partnership in which, we have a genuine dialogue in which if it was just like a friendship or something like that, we could just be friends. That's the way it should work. So I'm bringing all that up. So you understand when you're teaching something, when you want to develop in this education business or just a business in general, you have to be able to teach people who don't know anything about your subject. You have to be able to teach them on the spot and connect it to whatever it is they may be going through in life, right? And that's what you get on this channel. That's what you get with me. That's what you get when it comes to all the things that I'm about. So all that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into all of that work is makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of day you are consuming this evergreen material. Great to have you again. Like I said, let me just introduce myself to anybody that is new to this channel and understand. Give you more of a perspective of what you just heard. And I'm telling you, man, it's been a full week. It's been a full week since I've been doing that as an intro to the, I don't know if I like the screen. I don't know. Let me clean that up a little bit. Since I've been doing that as a intro to the actual live stream show, and it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. But let me reintroduce myself to anybody that is new to this channel. My name, like I said, is As1 Crookshank. I'm your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon-to-be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole business, this whole way of life, this whole concept, this whole mindset. It's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently as a championship high school or youth football team. We are on the Thursday recap episode. We're recapping everything that we talked about throughout the week. All week we've been talking about growth and development, and everything that we do here, it works on a system. There's a systematized way in which we go about doing all the work that we do here. Hold on. You know what's beautiful about that? Again, this is my second day in a row, and having to do these live streams at a local Starbucks that's not near, that's around the school I teach at. And again, like I said yesterday, be ready for a full blown out episode or full weeks long of material as to why that is the way it is and why it happened so abruptly. I don't have time to get into it today, but when it comes to me and when it comes to people throwing curveballs in my way and trying to create obstacles to where it is I'm trying to get to, I look at the positive side. So now that I'm out here, I'm making sure the recordings are done before it gets to be too late in the morning. And usually when you're out here, you see the people who get things ready for the folks that are going to come to work. So the reason I had to stop just now is because there's a guy there trimming the edges over here in Palm Beach Lakes. I get the motivation to keep going, even though, certain things fall through and certain people try to make things a little more difficult for you than they're already going to be, which is great. This is great. It's a great thing because it makes it so you just get better. That's it. If you're really about your shit and you're really about your business, there's no obstacles, nothing that people can put in your way that's going to just completely stop you and derail you from what it is you're trying to do. So all that being said, let me get through a couple of announcements, and then we're going to jump into all three of the articles that we went through throughout this week. We talked all about the difference between growth and development, understanding the difference between the two. All right. There's going to grow. There's things that are going to just naturally grow in general because that's part of life. But the question now has to become, are you developing along with the growth? Are you developing, maturing, getting better? Are you doing those things? That's where it has to be. That's what it is we're going to be deciphering throughout the day. But like I said, before that, let me get through a couple of announcements and then we'll go from there. First things first. If you have not yet, business owners, if you have not yet, go to freeguide.makeitmove.com. That is freeguide.makeitmove.com. Work from a very, very simple formula around here. It is number one, establishing measurables. Number two, creating a professional distance and allowing those two things, allowing a solid mix of those two things to be the thing that leads to a productive environment. You're not going to find another blueprint. It needs to be measurables and it needs to have a professional distance or the environment will not be productive. So make sure you go to freeguide.makeitmove.com. Simply click that button that you see right there and you will get a 10-step process on how to make it so you at least get the ball rolling on your business and get the ball rolling on what it is you're trying to do. All right. Next thing, as I mentioned in that intro video, the college football is back. I'll be hosting a live show. Like I said, we're still figuring it out, but I'll at least be recording a show right there and kind of open it up for conversation, open it up for dialogue on Saturdays from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Duffy's in North Palm Beach, breaking down football the correct way. If you're not yet, simply go to Film Session Saturday. You see a lot of this now where, let me just put the website up here now because, yes, simply go to Film Session Saturday. This is the link right here. And this is where we're breaking down the game in its totality. Last week, again, this started the week of the week after the national championship game. As you can see, 6 months in the running. And I'm simply just breaking down film, breaking down who did what it was all about, all that kind of stuff. So that is Film Session Saturday where we are doing that, and you can join the conversation. You can join the conversation by going to weeklyscenario.makeitmove.com. That is weeklyscenario.makeitmove.com, in which we'll be putting out a scenario that's going to draw a parallel, draw a connection between your business and what you're learning and what you're seeing on the college football field. And that is going to, again, further my point in terms of, hey, how can I use the game? What are some of the things that I could be learning that makes it so I become a better businessman or woman, or just have run a better organization because of the things that I'm learning from the game. That's the code that I've cracked, so to speak. All right. Now, if you're our favorite people around here to work with and you're like, bump all the free stuff, I want to know who I got to pay. I want to know, how do I take As One's mentality and implement a system into my staff so I know that they're going to show up and do their job every single day, no matter what the obstacle is, no matter what the problem is. They're going to continuously get better. How do I do that? How do I pay someone to actually implement that mindset? Great. Love to work with folks like you. It is makeitmove.com. That is makeyyamove.com. Just simply hit the shop now button. You'll see a copy of my books. You'll see a copy of where you can get the Move Swiftly workshop, some boxing lessons, some merch, all that kind of stuff is right there on makeitmove.com. And you just simply book a meeting with me as well to get all of the payment plans and how you can get it paid for it, or how you can get it paid for, and all that kind of stuff. And we will get the ball rolling on that. All right. Turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with As One, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Whew. All right. That was kind of new. So here we go. The recap episode. Let's get all of this. Start with Mondays. There it is. All right. Start with Mondays Monday's article, growth and development. What is the difference between growth and development? As we started alluding to, it's like they changed the platform, changed the platform over here, Medium. All right. So what we started alluding to, what we started talking about, was the understanding that growth is going to happen naturally. You will naturally grow. Your bones will get stronger. Baby teeth is going to fall out. Adult teeth will grow in. Everything is simply going to grow. You're going to get taller. You're going to get bigger, more muscular. Whatever it is, you're going to grow naturally. That's going to happen. We all know that's going to happen. But the development component to it, it has to be very intentional. That was the biggest takeaway from Monday. Is the difference is development is more intentional, and there's a level of maturity that comes with it. Like I just mentioned at the beginning, when it comes to we'll talk about the game of football now. As it comes to the game of football, I have developed in the game to the point where I'm mature enough to connect it and teach it to somebody who doesn't know what the game is about or doesn't know the details of the game. So the question now becomes, are you developing? Are you actually developing in something so you can become an expert at it and then be able to teach it in a way that's going to be beneficial to somebody else? See, that's the key right there. Teaching as a person that spent many years, I'd say not only teaching, but being taught by some incredible ones and being around some incredible teachers, is they have been able to translate something that they know. They've been able to study something and really look at something, observe something to the point where they know how to teach it to other people in a way that makes it so they understand it and they're able to benefit from it. All right. That is the key. Teaching in a way in which it will be beneficial to another person is how we move forward as a society. It's how we move forward in this world. It's how you move forward in your business. If you're not teaching it in a way that's going to be beneficial to somebody else, you don't really have a problem solved. You just simply are just putting shit out there, just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. All right. But if you're teaching it in a way where you're making it so this person gets it, they take it, and they're getting better because of it. Now you have a situation in which you are getting better. Now you have a situation in which you are making things happen. Now you have a situation in which you're moving in a way where you're pushing things forward and you are getting better. That is the difference, and you got to make sure you pay attention to that stuff. All right, so growth and development. I won't go through the whole article, but we'll just kind of go through a couple points here, and then I'll get into Tuesday's top 5. So, you can see there the image with me and that's my niece when she was just 1 year old, barely 1 year old. I think she had just no. She wasn't 1 year old yet. She wasn't because that fall she was born. And I'm holding her at a spring game. So she was born that August, and then that fall went around, and then spring were around April time. So she must have been about 8 or 9 months at that point. She must have been 8 or 9 months at that point. So I'm bringing all that up because I just went to her Sweet 16 birthday party. Yes, I had Sweet 16 birthday party that I just attended for that baby right there. And to think about, hey, I was just finishing up college, or in my last 2 years of college when she was born, when she was just a baby, to see what I'm doing now, and to see how much she's grown. And me and my girl, we went to we flew out to Maryland to celebrate her Sweet 16. The overall theme of this week came from the fact that I knew there were going to be a lot of thoughts that I had in my own mind about growth and development, about the difference and everything that we have seen. Just she and I. Again, I guess she's just a baby, but a lot of ways I was just a baby in that picture too. Just mindset wise, playing football and not really paying attention to the things going on in the outside world. It was such a tunnel vision. Like this kid right here that you look at is such a tunnel vision kid that I didn't really think about anything else but work, how I was going to advance all that stuff. So both very wet behind the ears if you're thinking about it metaphorically, right? So Let's get a definition of the two. To kick off question, what's the difference between growth and development? Growth, the process of increasing in physical size. Development, the process of becoming more mature and advanced. And then as we go a layer deeper, mature means fully developed. So again, this is me just like kind of just explain what I just told you all in terms of the 15 years in which, I've had since my niece was born, and then to go to Maryland to celebrate her sweet 16. That was something really special. Also, I had an oversight. So at the last Monday of every month, I give myself a monthly grade. I did it for last Monday because I missed out on the, I'm still going to do a show on, no, I didn't miss out. No, we're good. Now that I'm looking at the calendar. Labor Day, September 1st. So yeah, we're good. It was the last. Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about that. Scratch that last statement. But so also the last Monday of every month. Yeah, I'm thinking Labor Day because Monday again I'm in the schoolwork because we're not going to school Monday. But anyway, don't worry about that. Labor Day, not Labor Day, but this past Monday I did my monthly goal tracker. I did my monthly assessment in terms of how I did. I gave myself a B- based on what my goals were last month. The new goals, and I won't go through all the goals and how I did, but the new goals going into September, going to be clean up the live stream for virtual viewers. And that's where, again, you kind of hear me talk about a little bit in terms of how I'm going to run the college football show. It will be recorded with me talking about the game and breaking down what I see and then putting it out there because I don't want to run into too many any copyright issues of showing the game live. And again, the goal for me is to become a play-by-play announcer for college football games. So I'm going to make sure I'm somewhat compliant in regards to that and then making sure that is something that is at the forefront. So that's number one, just clean up the live show for virtual viewers. Number two, build a new rhythm around football season. Again, some of the reasons why I'm making sure certain things are done by Thursday, no matter what, like by Thursday, whatever needs to get done from a business standpoint for next week. I'm going to make it a habit of getting it done by Thursday night, no matter what. Again, Friday, if it bleeds into Friday morning, that's not the worst thing, but I'd like to get things done by Thursday night so I can make, some high school football games and get an eye and watch that. I can definitely go and watch some college football and then definitely, obviously, some NFL games to make sure that the weekends are open for me to, catch in the football and be able to comment on it and speak on it as knowledgeably as I do. So that's the next thing I'm going to be doing. And then number three, I've somewhat already decided. Number three is just decide on what you're going to do with the boxing training. I was working with the Palm Beach Boxing Gym for a little bit as I was, checking out the class. But as school has started, I've realized, hey, I'm one human being. I can't stretch myself too thin. So those are the goals for this month. And that was Monday's show. That's what we talked about on Monday. It's making sure we're staying very, very focused, on the main thing, keeping the main thing, which is all about employee development for business owners of 20 or more employees, which is what we do around here. So next thing, let's go to Tuesday, top 5 ways to develop and grow in one smooth motion. That's what we discussed on Top 5 Tuesday. Another one of the staples that we do around here in the Move Swiftly world. We do a Top 5 Tuesday every single day. So before I go forward, I guess gotta embarrass my niece for a little bit. So yes, right here is this girl right here, and you see this guy with the mic, that's me, and then this girl right here is the same. This is the same two people. These are the same two people. These are the same two people, folks. Okay. So you see where the theme growth and development came from. It's the same two people holding her now, holding a microphone. It's back when I had the shoulder pads on, helmet, all that. And now holding a microphone we were actually playing, I believe we were playing musical chairs. Yes, we were playing musical chairs at the time. So anyway, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to develop and grow. One smooth motion. That's what you guys got to understand is one smooth motion in terms of developing and growing. There's a process that needs to be in place for you to both develop and grow. Very first thing you need to do is you have to embrace more. You have to embrace discomfort. You have to embrace discomfort. You will not grow if you can't get around a uncomfortable situation and work your way through it. All right. Growth and development happens when your comfort zone ends. If you have embraced or decided to cater to this idea of moving into your comfort zone in everything you do, do not expect any development. You will not develop at all. You need to embrace the discomfort that comes with development, because you know on the other side of it is success. So number one is embrace discomfort. Number two, absorb failure. I mean, it's hard, it's harsh, it sucks, it's not an easy thing to go through, but absorbing that failure will allow yourself to say to yourself, I will not put myself in that position ever again. And it'll be very, very serious. You'll have that serious conversation with yourself to the point where you will not put yourself in a situation where you are going to end up on the losing end if you have absorbed that feeling of failure. Number three, measure everything. Measurements are everything. Are you tracking your measurables, and are you making sure your measurables and your math is mathing where it needs to math? Tracking everything is absolutely important. Great John Wooden, I believe I talked about the great John Wooden, is said that do not mistake activity for achievement. A lot of people go a lot of activity, but the achievement isn't there because they're not tracking and measuring things in the correct way. And then number four, keep a tight circle. Keep only the people that really, really give a shit about you. Keep those people around you, and it's not going to be a lot of people. I'll just tell you that right now. And if you do 1 through 4 the right way, then you find the motivators. You find the motivation, because as you develop, people start revealing themselves, and you say to yourself, look, that's a person that's going to set me up to fail, and I'm going to stay away, go run and go get away. All right. So that was Top 5 Tuesday. Again, just a quick recap as we get into yesterday's. Embrace the top 5 ways to develop and grow in one smooth motion. Embrace the discomfort, absorb failure, measure everything, keep a tight circle, and find motivators. All right. And then finally, yesterday, we talked all about Joe's before X's and O's. And that's Mr. Scott Cochran right there. Mr. Scott Cochran. He was a strength coach for those years when Alabama ran college football. And the reason that he has been so successful, the reason Alabama's football program was so successful, the reason that Scott Cochran's actually a head coach now at the university, I believe it's the University of West Alabama, is because there was a focus on the players. There was a focus on bringing in a competitive set of players that wanted to be at Alabama, and they wanted to compete their ass off and beat whoever they needed to beat to get on the field. All right. And and we talked about this yesterday, is if you really recall, you think about those years that Alabama ran college football, every single year they would be losing assistant coaches. Every single year somebody would take a job and go here. In fact, like I was mentioning back last year with the Texas versus Georgia, the SEC championship game, you had Kirby Smart at Georgia and you had Steve Sarkisian on Texas, and two coaches that coached under Nick Saban back in those Alabama years, and they're still, again, running the SEC. And I remember I was talking about this last year where Alabama might have been out the playoffs, but Nick Saban still winning when it comes to all of the coaches. Dan Lanning, I believe Dan Lanning was another one, right, for Oregon. All of the coaches that came under his system that are successful as coaches now. That's what you got to ask yourself, is if you're able to remove yourself as leaders. All right, now close your eyes as business owners, as leaders, because I've said this so many times on this show that the regular listeners probably tired of hearing me say it, but I will not stop saying it. I will say it every time it comes up, every time the situation comes up, I will make sure I reiterate the key to leadership is to build a team, build an organization to where if you were to move on, that organization would still be successful without you there. Are you moving in that direction, or do you make it so you have to be there in order for things to run? Because I'm telling you, if it's the latter, it's an organization that's setting up for failure. All right, you will fail the organization if you don't build something in which the people underneath you are able to run the business and run things just as good if you weren't there. And that's what has happened. So that's the importance of Joe's versus X's and O's. And that is really the baseline of what we spoke about throughout the week. Again, as you're going out, running your business, creating your organizations, and working your day to day, whatever your day to day may be, make sure there's a component in there where you're tracking the development of something so you can make better decisions in the future. All right. So all that being said, next week we're going to talk all about algorithms and putting the right stuff in your feed, so the feed and the things that are going on that you're scrolling through are going to actually be improving you, because it's hard to resist the temptation of scrolling these days. We want to make sure all we want to do is make sure now that you're scrolling in a way in which is going to be conducive to your development. So we'll dive into all that next week. Tomorrow we have Faith-Based Friday, then film session Saturday. Then we still have Stay Hired Sunday. In fact, we're going to be moving Stay Hired Sunday to a Wednesday in the next couple weeks here, so stay tuned for that. But then next Monday, we're back on it. Labor Day Monday, we're back on it. September 1st, back on it with a question about algorithms and what's going on in your algorithm and all that. So all that being said, as one Cruikshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.